Slava Isusu Christu. In today's Gospel, we have heard the account of the healing of the paralytic man. This story, of course, has its parallel in Mark and Luke, and may have similarities, of course, to the man at the pool of Bethsaida. But in Matthew's account, the story has been heavily edited, and so we do not have the spectacular arrival of the paralytic man through the roof, which we have in Mark. Just imagine the mess. Bits of straw, bits of clay brick, dust all over the place. However, what the man and his friends want, especially according to Matthew, is freedom from paralysis. Jesus, however, goes straight to the deeper problem. He forgives the man his sins. When I was preparing this, the television was on in the background, and there was the Premier giving the latest numbers for the virus and his report. I could not help but think that for us, in a time of the COVID-19 pandemic, we might perhaps wonder why Jesus does not return and simply suppress the virus and cure all the victims. Why not? After all, this account attempts to tell us in a bit more detail who Jesus is, what his significance is, what power he has. But to answer the question, we must explore how Jesus proclaimed the reign of God by bringing health and life to individuals and the whole society in which he lived. Every culture experiences sickness in a somewhat different way. Sickness is not only a biological condition, it's also an experience that one interprets, lives, and suffers within the cultural framework of one's own society. The sick whom Jesus met suffered the afflictions one would expect in a poor and undeveloped country. They were paralytic, blind, deaf mutes, people with skin diseases, the mentally ill. Many were incurable, abandoned, without a livelihood. They hobbled through life as beggars. Jesus saw them by the roadside, at the village entrance, or in the synagogue, pleading for pity. What they all yearned for was not only a cure for their affliction, but to be able to enjoy life as other people did. In the villages, Jesus visited people who saw illness as a punishment from God for sin. Healing, on the other hand, was a blessing from God. In the midst of this world, where there were no professional physicians, no medical system as we know it, no drugs that would cure illnesses, Jesus was renowned because he operated as a healer and an exorcist. Whence came his curative power? He gave the sick a new relationship with God, which helped them to live with new dignity. All this was part of his proclamation of the kingdom of God. This was how he proclaimed the goodness, the good news. God is arriving. The healings were signs of a new world, the world that God wanted for everyone. Therefore, in his dispute with the Pharisees, it's quite unsurprising that Jesus offered to cure the paralytic man of his sins. It's not that Jesus imputed sin as the cause of his infirmity, but rather that Jesus was expressing his authority to release all of the power of evil over them. In the presence of Jesus, the divine power of forgiveness is personally present on earth. Here in Matthew's Gospel, God is glorified, who has given such power to human beings, that is, to Jesus and to the ministers of his church. Slava Isusu Christu.